Topping the news, from the increase of minimum wage to tackling crime and migration, the nation's leader, the Honorable Davis K.C. addressed the nation last evening to share his thoughts on the progress the Davis Cooper administration has made since taking office a little over a year ago, as well as the challenges facing the country and the government's plan on the way forward. Our Simone Davis has the details in this report.
The nation's economy is still struggling to rebound after the many challenges that erupted following Hurricane Dorian, the COVID-19 pandemic, and now the onset of global inflation. Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip Davis, began his national address last evening, sympathizing with the Bahamian people.
I know what it's like to live in a home that every time a little money comes in, you have to decide which bill is most important to pay, because there's no way to pay them all at once.
Prime Minister Davis then revealed the efforts made by his administration to provide relief to struggling Bahamians and announced that many new essential items will be subject to price control in stores.
I want to announce that we have added 38 new items to be subject to price controls in our country. We are limiting the wholesale and retail markup of everyday items like diapers and food like chicken, eggs, bread, bananas, apples, oranges, broccoli, onions, and potatoes. These items are being added for at least a 6-month period, at which point we will review and evaluate the impact on businesses and consumers.
Meantime, the biggest takeaway from the Prime Minister's national address was his confirmation that the country's minimum wage will increase, which hasn't happened since 2015. Davis said the move is long overdue.
The country's new minimum wage will be $260 a week. For minimum wage earners in the public service, the change will be retroactive going back to July of this year. For minimum wage earners in the private sector, the increase will begin in a little less than 3 months, in January of the coming year, allowing employers time to prepare for the increased expense.
And as it relates to the issue of the country's increasing migration rate, Prime Minister Davis also revealed that last June, the Bahamas opted not to sign a declaration on migration that suggested that nations host undocumented people. While 20 other countries signed it, Davis said he made it clear to U.S. President Joe Biden that the Bahamas could not afford to bear that burden. The Prime Minister said his administration is moving to fortify and protect the country's borders to limit migration and human trafficking.
We are recruiting hundreds of new Defense Force and immigration officers. We are investing $6 million in new Defense Force vessels. We are strengthening our partnerships that amplify our ability to patrol our waters.
Davis also highlighting the government's efforts to tackle crime.
Our police now have new leadership, new resources, and new initiatives targeting gangs and guns. We have created a collaborative, multi-agency approach to interrupting the cycles of violence that are tearing up our streets and communities.
PM Davis also announced that by the end of this year, the government will break ground on a new $200 million hospital on Grand Bahama. For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Simone Davis.